Time to get frosty with Isu the Abominable. Isu reads, Isu the Abominable, 3 blue, legendary snow creature Yeti. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play snowlands and cast snow spells from the top of your library. Whenever another snow permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay green, white, or blue. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Isu the Indomitable, 5/5. First section of the deck is running as many snow permanents as we can get our hands on, so we can cast a bunch of spells and pump up Isu. Important note though, while we do run snow instants and sorceries, neither of those things will trigger Isu as they aren't permanents. Just keep that in mind. Abominable Tree Folk is 2 green-blue, snow creature Tree Folk with trample. Abominable Tree Folk's power and toughness are each equal to the number of snow permanents you control. When Abominable Tree Folk enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. This thing will get massive and trample over our opponent's jump blockers. If our commander isn't a viable option as a beater anymore, consider this as a backup. A Darkar Valkyrie is 4 white, snow creature angel with flying and vigilance. Tap, when target creature other than a Darkar Valkyrie dies this turn, return that card to the battlefield under your control, 4/5. This keeping key creatures around is a great effect to have on board. Ascendant of Spirit is 1 blue for a snow creature spirit. Snow. Ascendant Spirit becomes a spirit warrior with base power and toughness 2/3. Snow. If Ascendant Spirit is a warrior, put a flying counter on it and it becomes a spirit warrior angel with base power and toughness 4/4. Snow. If Ascendant Spirit is an angel, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it and it gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. 1/1. This thing can become a serious beater that can draw some cards. It scales real well throughout the game. Pretty sweet all in all. Boreal Outrider is 2 and a green for snow creature elf warrior. Whenever you cast a creature spell, if snow of any of that spell's colors was spent to cast it, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Snow is mana from a snow source. This making our creatures a little bigger is cool. Plus it combos well with Herald of Secret Streams, which we'll cover on later in the video. Conifer Worm is 4 and a green for snow creature worm, trample, 3 and a green. Conifer Worm gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of snow permanents you control, 4/4. This can be activated multiple times in a single turn. That'll get out of hand real fast. Another great beater. Diamond Fairy is 2 a green, a white, and a blue for snow creature fairy with flying, 1 in a snow. Snow creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn, 3/3. Anthem effect for all of our snow creatures can be pretty sweet. Hydar Rhymewind Master is 4 and a blue for a legendary creature human wizard, 2 tap, return target permanent to its owner's hand. Play this ability only if you control 4 or more snow permanents. 3/3. Bounce on repeat for only 2 mana is pretty sweet, and don't forget, it only says target permanent, meaning we can bounce lands. Boreal Druid is 1 green for snow creature elf druid, tap, add 1 mana to your mana pool, 1/1. Mana dork in the early game and gets us a counter in the late game, and don't forget, this taps for snow mana. Icefang Kotal is a green and a blue for a snow creature snake with flash and flying. When Icefang Kotal enters the battlefield, draw a card. Icefang Kotal has Death Touch as long as you control at least 3 other snow permanents. This card's always live and always a great option to have at our disposal. Moriat of the Frost is 2 a green, a blue, and a blue, legendary snow creature shapeshifter with Changeling. This card is every creature type. You may have Moriat of the Frost enter the battlefield as a copy of a permanent you control, except it's a legendary and snow in addition to its other types. And if it's a creature, it enters with 2 +1/+1 counters on it and has Changeling 0/0. Copy your best non-legendary permanent, and it triggers our commander. Yes, please. Orin Viper is 1 green for snow creature snake. When Orin Viper deals combat damage to a creature, destroy that creature at the end of combat. Whenever Orin Viper deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. 1/3. Draw a card, or pseudo Death Touch. Both are great options. Orin Frostfang is 3 green, snow creature snake. Attacking creatures you control have Death Touch, and whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. 2/6. Card draw is amazing. Skelter of Winter is 1 green for a snow creature elf rogue. Tap, untap target snowland, 2/2. Rhymewind Cryomancer is 3 and a blue, creature human wizard, 1, tap, counter target activated ability. Play this ability only if you control 4 or more snow permanents, 2/3. This one can be real strong for all sorts of permanents, even planeswalkers. Spirit of the Alderguard is 3 and a green, snow creature bear spirit. When Spirit of the Alderguard enters the battlefield, search your library for a snowland, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Spirit of the Alderguard gets +1/+0 for each other snow permanent you control, which makes it a great addition to our package of beaters. Cold Steel Heart is 2 mana for a snow artifact. Cold Steel Heart enters the battlefield tapped. As Cold Steel Heart enters the battlefield, choose a color. Tap, add 1 mana of the chosen color to your mana pool. More ramp, yada yada yada. Replicating Ring is 3 mana snow artifact. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a night counter on Replicating Ring. Then if it has 8 or more night counters on it, remove all of them and create 8 colorless snow artifact tokens named Replicated Ring with, tap, add 1 mana of any color. Even more ramp. Icebreaker Kraken is 10 blue snow creature Kraken. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each snow land you control. When Icebreaker Kraken enters the battlefield, artifacts and creatures target opponent control don't untap during that player's next untap step. Return 3 snow lands you control to their owner's hand. Return Icebreaker Kraken to its owner's hand. 8/8. This one's really cool. It's also a great beater, and we can return it to our hand in response to removal or board wipes. It also allows us to replay lands, triggering our commander again. Merit Lodge's Slumber is 1 in a blue for a legendary snow enchantment. Whenever Merit Lodge's Slumber or another snow permanent enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more snow permanents, sacrifice Merit Lodge's Slumber. If you do, create Merit Lodge, a legendary 2020 black avatar creature token with flying and indestructible. Did that just say a 2020 with indestructible and flying? Yes. Yes, it did. And I'm here for it. Enchant Creature. Enchanted creature can't block, and its activated abilities can't be played. Snow. Enchanted creature gains Defender until end of turn. This one isn't amazing, but stopping activated abilities can be real useful to have around. On Thin Ice is 1 white, Snow Enchantment Aura. Enchant snow land you control. When On Thin Ice enters the battlefield, exile target creature and opponent controls until On Thin Ice leaves the battlefield. This one is far better than the last one, since it's straight up exile stuff. I wish we had more effects like this. Next up is that we're going to run into chunks of lands when we're casting spells off the top of our library, and seeing a second land immediately stopping our turn isn't what we want at all. So, we're going to run cards that let us play multiple lands in a turn, such as Azusa Lost but Seeking, 2 and a green, legendary creature Human Monk. You may play 2 additional lands on each of your turns, 1/2. 2 additional lands will help us get through those chunks of lands easily. Dryad of the Elysian Grove is 2 and a green, enchanted creature Nymph. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types. This turns all of our lands into every land type, meaning we can tap them for any color of mana. Oracle of Moldiah is 3 and a green, creature type Elf Shaman. You can play an additional land on each of your turns. Play with the top card of your library revealed. You may play lands from the top of your library 2/2. This lets us play lands from the top of our deck even if we don't have our commander out, which is a great thing to have. Avenger of Zendikar is 5 green, creature type Elemental. When Avenger of Zendikar enters the battlefield, create a 0/1 green plant creature token for each land you control. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a +1/+1 counter on each plant creature you control. We run land payoffs as a one-of in this version of the deck, but you could easily take this into a land ramp deck, and it would be pretty sweet, but this isn't that deck. Finally, we run a couple of cards that synergize with counters, such as Herald of Secret Streams. See, I told you we'd get back to him. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on him can't be blocked. Herald of Secret Streams is here primarily for the commander, but also for other cards, with counters. Hardened Scales is 1 green, enchantment. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature you control, that many +1/+1 counters are put on it instead. Hardened Scales is an amazing play before we get our commander out, that way we can double up on those counters we're making. And that's it. That's the deck. Did I miss anything? If so, leave it in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, why not give it a like? And if you really enjoyed this video, you can always subscribe to my Patreon or even just my channel here. Either way, I hope you have a wonderful day.